Thank you, Dalet, for excellent intro. Pleasure to be here. Thanks for having me. I guess the slides will be coming up, but I think as some of the speakers already mentioned, every crisis has an opportunity in it, and it would be a pity to waste those opportunities. And I think the sooner we find them, the better it is for everyone. So if I would start on, let's say, how Italy started and how it is doing right now, you can flip to the next one. This is the picture of empty highways just outside Rome in the middle of the day. So those who have been there before, probably this is extremely unusual picture. And I must say that Italians, as the first country in Europe affected in a really bad way by COVID, they really, having seen those negative statistics about cases, mortality rates, and so on, they really got to grips with their, let's say, quarantine and stay-at-home policy quite fast, I must say. I was really surprised to see this kind of view when I was driving to the airport. On the macro level, of course, the biggest hit and immediate hit was to the small businesses, to restaurants, cafes, and let's say family businesses, which are abundant in Italy, especially in the hospitality industry, which accounts for probably more than 10% of GDP, so 40 billion euros, lots of jobs. So I think this is really a huge hit to the economy. I think on the exporting businesses side, I think exporting businesses, they did actually much better due to the fact that, let's say, COVID has traveled around the world in stages. So, I mean, we had some European countries, then, okay, besides China, and then probably it reached Latam, US after that. So for exporting businesses, it was not a hard stop in a way. Then I think another probably specialty is that, like everywhere now we have seen around the world, food consumption in home has grown dramatically. And we still see something like 30% increases based on retail audit and so on. Of course, this is happening at the expense of HoReCa being completely shut down, more or less. And of course, the government played also a certain role in Italy specifically, because, okay, we might complain about different level of bureaucracy and governments in different countries, including Lithuania. But you can imagine, let's say, in Italy, a prime minister used to come on the news on Saturday late night, like 10 o'clock, 11 o'clock in the evening, would tell what will be not allowed next week, and the actual law would appear something like Tuesday lunchtime. So you can imagine from between Saturday night and Tuesday lunchtime, all the business community is second guessing what we can and cannot do. So that just added a bit to the to the turbulence. Another thing, probably two things were, besides the usual crisis management stuff, I will not go through, but probably two things were probably the most challenging at the beginning in the first weeks. One is, let's say, produce a full backup of supply chain because different routes were shutting down every day. Transport availability, borders were closing, so it was quite messy. So let's say the backup of supply chain has costed us, of course, some working capital during Q1 for sure. Then second thing was actually getting safety equipment. Because we were able to operate only on the condition that the employees have safety equipment like masks, gloves, and stuff like that. And during first 2 weeks, probably more than 2 weeks in Italy, everything that you would ship from abroad would be stopped at the customs or stopped at tax authorities and basically redirected to hospitals. So basically, if you order some masks, you don't know if you are getting them, how many you are getting them, and when you are getting them. So because of course the situation with the contamination cases was just skyrocketing, you know, even at the beginning, at the beginning of March. So all in all, it was an excellent stress test for the team and for the organization, and plenty of opportunities to show situational leadership anywhere pretty much. And it ended up also with, I would say for some weeks, it was definitely a 7 days working week for everyone. If I move on to the next one, I think the safety came as definitely as a highlight, and as I said, the key condition for us to be able to operate. And probably my learning here is that actually the safety of feeling or peace of mind or you know, psychological safety of employees become probably even more important than actual physical safety. Because it's, interestingly enough, I think there is a different information bubbles that different groups of employees are living in, especially if you compare blue collars, white collars, and whatnot. I think they believe and follow different things in life. And we spend actually a lot of time in explaining, you know, that there is no difference between different masks, even if they look differently and things like that. I mean, people are stressed, people felt unsafe, they were asking all sorts of irrational questions, which were not able to explain in, let's say, any rational way. So I think first weeks were a little bit messy, and then we put a lot of effort in actually cooling this down by taking a bunch of additional measures. Just to mention a few, we started with the additional disinfections of the premises, office, manufacturing, everything. Just to tell, look, I mean, we are well taken care of. If you need to come to the office or if you need to come to the factory, I mean, we are doing everything, I mean, way more than legally required, just to make sure that we don't stop. Because as I said, I mean, the business is growing double digit. It was really a very, very strong quarter. And I mean, to stop in the middle of that would be a complete disaster, of course. Then I would say maybe 3 weeks ago, some of the insurance companies have offered a specific COVID-19 insurance to employees, which doesn't cost much at all. But again, it's one of those safety, peace of mind kind of factors that, let's say, what I saw employees appreciate very much. And it was, let's say, very good ingredient to put on the table. If we move a little next, what's next? I think what's next, it depends actually where are we on the map and so on. I think with the immediate risks that I see is of course related to payments. In a way, in a crisis situation, that's kind of normal. But let's say probably risk of devaluation of different currencies in emerging, some of the key emerging markets such as Mexico, Turkey, Thailand, South Africa, some bigger African economies. I think that's definitely still a risk because different countries are reacting very differently to the current situation. I've seen even some central banks intervening and actually stopping payments in hard currency. Basically, they prioritize payments for medical equipment and medical supplies. Everything else is on hold. So it's really very, very much on country by country behavior when it comes to managing the exposure. I think there's also another opportunity along with that. We know that a lot of base, let's say, raw materials are, let's say, dropping in price dramatically. Well, except for gold. Well, that's not exactly raw material, but it's definitely a great time to hedge. I think if you have anything in your business that depends on any of those raw materials, it's absolutely fantastic time to hedge for the remaining of the year, and maybe in some cases for 21. And probably last but not least, I think this turbulence will also lead to acceleration of consolidation of some markets. I'm pretty sure there will be very exciting M&A opportunities in different areas, in different industries, which for sure is interesting to take and interesting to consider. So all in all, it's not only bad. I think there are a number of very interesting opportunities coming up if you are fast in your decision making, actually. I think that's about my 10 minutes, Dalia.